full disclosure, I voted for the Harpalnia project as well, and at the time the executive presidency seemed like a really big deal and something that we needed to weaken. Then we've come to the current state where we have a very strong executive president with a large majority, but you still have the same inertia, you still have the same, you have gazettes being published and then retracted, you have the president saying one thing. So I wonder if, I personally seem to have moved on from this executive presidency. I think the system isn't great. Having an all-powerful executive president isn't great, but when we tried the alternative, it didn't seem to help. So where do you stand on this balance of power? And
I think for most people, these are like sort of, look, I forget most people, I don't know most people. Even for myself, this is somewhat abstract, like argument.
Yeah.
Like Sri Lanka, there's two sides I think about Sri Lanka. One is that sometimes people, especially people like me, approach it saying like, oh, we're doing so badly. We're not like Singapore. We're not like, America. And it's like, so there's another index called the Sustainable Development Index. And in that, Sri Lanka is the #2 country in the world after Costa Rica, because that takes a measure of what you have developed in terms of health and education, as in the benefits to your people and you as a human being, and what it has cost in terms of emissions, as in what you have taken from future generations.
Right.
And then you'd give a balanced sort of scorecard for people, assets and liabilities. On that, Sri Lanka does well. So we have some stuff that we can be proud of. And so I don't, especially people like me, or I guess Kalusa does, approach it from this thing as like, oh, like we failed so much, look at everybody else, they did so much better than us. I don't agree with that. I think, in terms of like educating ourselves, having health care, preserving the environment, those were important things that we did and things that we are losing, because a lot of people like me will be like, oh, like they just privatize everything and do these like abstract arcane reforms that nobody really understands. And I think you can approach it from a point of, now the other aspect is that we think it's like such a great mystery as to how we become an industrialized country. And you need to build industries. So neither government has had any sustained program to build industries or to invest in industries. And you can do that through many forms of government. And if you look at it globally, actually the countries that develop seem to do it through dictatorships often, which I don't advocate because obviously many other people killed. But you at least have to have some industrial policy, which we don't have. So even the UNP, SJB, whatever, it's just like, oh, we're going to like adjust tax rates and like fix things up. But then we're still stuck in a essentially colonial, not essentially, we're just still stuck in a colonial relationship where we export cheap labor and we export, resources, and then we like bend over it for like tourism. And then but we don't have
industry. It's the external dependency, isn't it? That's killing us.
And we're still in the colonial relationship. So Mahinda had the sense of investing in something, but he just invested in like bad things. Like why do we need another city in Hambantota, right? We could have maybe developed Trinco or something else. That port maybe can start producing returns now, but that was at least infrastructure. And I think even voters understand that in some sense, as in like Mahinda and the Rajapaksas at least do something. And they're not part of that sort of comprador elite, which just like papers stuff up and like gives you some like bullcrap to make all the embassies happy.